presented by Myth and Greet. Leave a like and subscribe.
Hercules, the demigod of unmatched strength, son of Zeus and the mortal Alcmene, was a figure marked by both glory and tragedy. He was admired for his heroic feats, but also bore the burden of Hera's machinations. The jealous wife of Zeus could not endure the existence of her husband's illegitimate child. Hera cast a spell of madness upon Hercules, driving him to commit an unthinkable act, the murder of his wife Megara and their children in a fit of uncontrollable rage. When he regained his sanity and realized what he had done, Hercules was overwhelmed with guilt and despair. Seeking redemption, he consulted the Oracle of Delphi. The priestess, under the guidance of Apollo, revealed that he must serve King Eurystheus, a cowardly and manipulative ruler, and complete 12 impossible labors to atone for his sins. Thus began Hercules' journey, a saga that would test not only his physical strength but also his mental and emotional resilience. His first challenge took him to Nemea, where a monstrous lion was terrorizing the region. This was no ordinary lion. Its hide was impervious to any weapon. Hercules initially attempted to subdue it with arrows, but they bounced off as if striking solid rock. With no other option, he confronted the beast bare-handed. After a brutal struggle, he managed to strangle the lion to death. Triumphant, Hercules used the lion's own claws to skin its hide and fashioned it into a cloak. This garment became a symbol of his strength and a source of protection for the challenges that lay ahead. Eurystheus, terrified by Hercules' success, ordered that the hero leave his trophies outside the palace gates. Too frightened to face Hercules directly, Eurystheus began delivering his commands through a messenger, avoiding all personal interaction with the demigod. Barely rested, Hercules was assigned his next task: to defeat the Hydra, a serpentine monster with multiple heads that inhabited the swamps of Lerna. This creature was a feared abomination, not only for its terrifying appearance, but also for its poisonous breath and its horrifying ability to regenerate 2 heads for every one that was severed. Upon reaching the Hydra's lair, Hercules realized that brute force alone would not be enough to defeat the beast. With the help of his nephew Iolaus, he devised an ingenious plan. Each time Hercules severed one of the Hydra's heads, Iolaus would use a torch to cauterize the wound, preventing new heads from growing in its place. After an exhausting battle, Hercules succeeded in destroying all the Hydra's heads except for the final one, which was immortal. Unable to kill it, he buried the indestructible head beneath a massive boulder, ensuring the monster could never terrorize anyone again. As a testament to his victory, Hercules dipped his arrows into the Hydra's venomous blood, making them lethally poisonous. These arrows would play a critical role in future labors and, tragically, in Hercules' own destiny. Eurystheus, aiming to devise a more civilized and supposedly less brutal challenge, commanded Hercules to capture the Ceryneian hind, a sacred animal of Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. The hind was renowned for its unparalleled speed and its golden antlers, making it a creature of divine significance. Hercules spent an entire year tracking the hind through the mountains and forests of Greece. Refusing to harm the animal out of fear of incurring Artemis's wrath, he relied on patience and relentless determination. After months of persistence, he finally managed to capture the elusive creature without causing it injury. However, his success was short-lived, as Artemis herself appeared, furious that her sacred animal had been taken. Hercules, humble and respectful, explained that he was bound to complete this task on Eurystheus' orders. He assured the goddess that he would return the hind unharmed after presenting it to the king. Reluctantly, Artemis allowed Hercules to proceed on the condition that he uphold his promise. This task revealed a different side of Hercules, not just a fierce warrior, but a man capable of reverence, diplomacy, and respect for the divine. Eurystheus, increasingly determined to humiliate Hercules, commanded him to capture the Erymanthian boar alive. This was no ordinary animal. It was a massive, ferocious creature that had been wreaking havoc on the villages surrounding the mountain of the same name. Hercules approached the task with a blend of strategy and strength. He relentlessly pursued the boar, driving it toward a snow-covered area where the slippery terrain hindered the beast's movements. Using the environment to his advantage, Hercules was able to corner the creature. With his incredible strength, he subdued the boar by hand, binding it securely for transport. When Hercules presented the snarling, enraged boar at Eurystheus' palace, the king was so overwhelmed with fear that he fled to a large jar or barrel to hide. Trembling, he refused to emerge until the beast was removed from the premises. The sight of the mighty Hercules calmly holding the monstrous boar, while Eurystheus cowered in hiding, became a moment of unintended comedy, a humorous counterpoint to the gravity of Hercules' grueling labors. Eurystheus, now intent on humiliating Hercules, rather than simply challenging him, assigned him the seemingly degrading task of cleaning the stables of King Augeas. These stables housed thousands of cattle and had not been cleaned for years, resulting in an unimaginable accumulation of filth. Hercules accepted the task, but instead of tackling it manually, he relied on his intellect to solve the problem. Ingeniously, he redirected the courses of the Alpheus and Peneus rivers, causing their powerful currents to flow through the stables. In a matter of hours, the water washed away years of grime, leaving the stables immaculate. Although Augeas had promised Hercules a reward for completing the task, the king reneged on his word, refusing to honor the agreement. Hercules left the kingdom, but the broken promise sowed seeds of resentment that would lead to future conflict. Adding insult to injury, Eurystheus attempted to disqualify this labor, claiming that Hercules had received outside help from the rivers, despite the undeniable ingenuity required to accomplish the feat. This task highlighted Hercules' resourcefulness, proving that his strength of mind was as formidable as his physical might. For his next challenge, Hercules was sent to Lake Stymphalus, where monstrous birds were terrorizing the local inhabitants. These creatures possessed razor-sharp metallic feathers, which they could shoot as deadly projectiles, and an insatiable appetite for human flesh. Hercules understood that directly confronting a swarm of these deadly birds would be suicidal. Instead, he turned to cunning. Armed with a pair of magical castanets forged by Hephaestus, he created a deafening clamor that startled the birds, driving them from their nests into the open sky. As the flock took flight, Hercules took aim with his bow, unleashing his poison-tipped arrows to bring them down one by one. The remaining birds, terrified, scattered, ensuring the safety of the region. This labor not only demonstrated Hercules' strength and precision, but also underscored his ability to adapt and think strategically when faced with even the most dangerous and unconventional threats. The next labor took Hercules to Crete, where King Minos sought his help to capture a colossal bull sent by Poseidon. This was the very same bull that, under the god's curse, had fathered the Minotaur with Minos' wife. Now the creature had become uncontrollable, rampaging across the land, destroying crops and terrorizing the people. Hercules confronted the bull head-on, relying on his extraordinary strength to subdue the beast. After an intense struggle, he managed to wrestle it into submission and lasso it securely. Hercules then transported the mighty bull to Eurystheus. As expected, Eurystheus was once again overcome with fear at the sight of the living beast. Unwilling to keep it, he ordered the bull to be released, allowing it to roam freely, this time across the fields of Marathon, where its legend would continue. This labor further cemented Hercules' reputation as a tamer of mythical creatures, showcasing his ability to bring even the most formidable beasts under control and solidifying his place as a hero of unparalleled prowess. Eurystheus, now even more cruel, ordered Hercules to capture the carnivorous horses of Diomedes, the king of Thrace. These horses were fed on human flesh, making them a constant and terrifying threat to anyone who ventured too close. Hercules arrived in the kingdom of Diomedes with a cunning plan. He quickly defeated the king's guards and captured Diomedes himself, offering the king to the horses as their meal. Once the beasts had been sated, they became tame, allowing Hercules to lead them back to Eurystheus. This brutal yet effective tactic highlighted Hercules' willingness to do whatever was necessary to complete his journey. It revealed a more ruthless side to his character. showing that he was prepared to face cruelty head-on and use it to his advantage in order to fulfill the impossible tasks set before him. For his 9th labor, Hercules was sent to the land of the Amazons to obtain the belt of Queen Hippolyta. This magical item, gifted to her by Ares, the god of war, symbolized her power as the leader of the fierce Amazonian warriors. Upon arriving, Hercules encountered Hippolyta, and to his surprise, she welcomed him with hospitality. Recognizing his fame and understanding the nature of his mission, she was willing to give him the belt peacefully. However, as always, Hera could not let Hercules find ease. Disguised as an Amazonian, Hera spread rumors that Hercules was there to abduct Hippolyta, sowing distrust and hostility among the Amazons. This intervention by Hera turned a peaceful encounter into a violent conflict. The Amazons, enraged by the false rumors, attacked Hercules, forcing him into a fierce battle. Despite the chaos, Hercules was able to overpower the Amazons and ultimately secured the belt, but not without suffering the consequences of Hera's interference, which once again turned his mission into a fight for survival. The next task took Hercules to the edges of the known world, where Geryon, a 3-bodied giant, guarded a valuable herd of cattle. This mission would test his endurance, requiring him to cross vast deserts under the scorching sun. Along the way, he faced several challenges, including a confrontation with the giant Antaeus and an encounter with the Caucasus, where he freed Prometheus. Upon reaching Geryon's land, Hercules battled the giant, his 2-headed dog, and the herdsman who tended the cattle. Using his poisoned arrows, he defeated Geryon from a distance, captured the cattle, and drove them back to Eurystheus, completing yet another labor. Hercules' penultimate task involved a divine gift, the golden apples of the Garden of the Hesperides, fruits that granted immortality. These apples were guarded by a 100-headed dragon and protected by the Hesperides, the nymphs who were daughters of night. Unaware of the garden's exact location, Hercules sought guidance from Nereus, the sea god, and faced additional trials along the way. When he finally reached the garden, he didn't engage the dragon directly. Instead, he persuaded Atlas, the titan who held up the heavens, to retrieve the apples on his behalf. While Atlas was away, Hercules took on the immense burden of holding up the sky. When the titan returned with the apples, Hercules tricked him, asking Atlas to hold the sky for just a moment while he adjusted his position. Quickly, Hercules seized the opportunity and departed with the apples, completing the task and once again demonstrating his cunning. For the final and most challenging labor, Eurystheus ordered Hercules to descend into the underworld and capture Cerberus, the 3-headed dog who guarded the gates of Hades. Hercules knew that to face this task, he would need not only strength, but also the courage to confront death itself. Upon entering the underworld, Hercules impressed Hades and Persephone with his determination. They allowed him to take Cerberus, but only under the condition that he would not use weapons to subdue the beast. Hercules faced the monster directly, relying solely on his strength to overpower it and lead it back to Eurystheus. When Hercules presented Cerberus to the king, Eurystheus was so terrified that he begged for the creature to be returned to the underworld. Hercules complied with the command, completing his arduous journey and finally bringing an end to the 12 labors that had tested his strength, intelligence, and resolve to their absolute limits. By completing the 12 labors, Hercules not only redeemed himself from his sins, but also became a symbol of strength, courage, and resilience. His story, marked by victories and sacrifices, transcended time, inspiring generations as proof that even in the face of the most extreme adversities, it is possible to persevere and achieve redemption. The saga of the 12 labors deeply marked Hercules' life and shaped his immortal legacy. Throughout his journey, the demigod faced challenges not only physical, but also moral, emotional, and spiritual. Each labor revealed facets of his character, his unmatched strength, his strategic intelligence, and above all, his unwavering determination to overcome the mistakes of the past. After completing the labors, Hercules continued to perform heroic deeds and face new challenges. However, tragedy remained a constant element in his life, a reminder of the weight he bore as a hero of mythology. Eventually, his death would also be marked by divine interference and the use of the poisoned arrows he had created with the blood of the Hydra. Hercules was elevated to the status of a deity, living among the gods on Mount Olympus. However, his true legacy is not only found in his superhuman feats, but in the humanity he exhibited throughout his journey. He is remembered as a symbol of redemption, showing that even the most powerful must face challenges that require more than physical strength. They demand courage, sacrifice, and a constant search for a higher purpose. This story of redemption and perseverance continues to resonate today, reminding us that, regardless of our mistakes or adversities, there is always a path to redemption. Just like Hercules, we all face our own battles, and it is how we choose to confront them that defines who we truly are.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. If there's anything you'd like to discuss or suggest, please leave it in the comments section. Thank you very much. Until next time.